Welcome to the course Educational Systems and Context. This week we start with our first unit, which deals with public policies, concepts, importance, and tackles the main Ecuadorian policies. But why policies, or why public policies? Why is this topic important for teachers of foreign languages? It is important because you need to get acquainted with the most important public policies in Ecuador in order to analyze the fulfillment of them in any educational institution as future professionals. We are going to start answering during the lesson different questions. What are public policies? What are public policies for? What are the main Ecuadorian public policies? If we brainstorm any term, it means to start saying words or phrases that you may associate with that word. In this case, we are going to brainstorm the concept policy. But if you think about the word policies, what are the words which you may relate to it? What words come to the tip of your tongue? I wrote for you some words I thought they could be similar or have any relationship with the word policies. I have to say that I used strategy. I associated policy with synonyms. For example, regulations, laws, declarations, announcements. Then I looked up its meaning in the dictionary, and words as actions, making, decisions, government, individuals arose. Finally, I consulted some text with the concepts. Then I suggest you to use, while studying or when you have to conceptualize a term, to use these strategies. First, activate previous knowledge on the topic, look up the meaning of the word, find out its concept, and finally, conceptualize the term by yourself. Of course, in this case, I thought my own concept. It is a simple concept because I just tried to integrate some words from the brainstorming technique in a coherent way. It is important for you to avoid learning by heart, that is memorizing contents. It is better to reason, to think, to construct knowledge by yourself, at least in my lessons, because I know that's the way we really learn, we really acquire knowledge. That's what we call significant learning. But it is important to learn listening to specialists. That's why I invite you to watch and listen to this video.
In societies, we have governments. The role of governments is to make sure that people get along. The role of governments is to make sure that basic needs and obligations of society are met. And the role of governments is to try to determine what we do with resources, who gets those resources, who doesn't, and why. A lot of things for government to do. Much of this is wrapped up in the making of public policy. We call it public policy because it's the kinds of decisions made by governments rather than decisions that we make every day as individuals. We define public policy as the combination of basic decisions, commitments, and action steps undertaken by those who hold or affect government positions. Public policy is a response to demands. Public policy is based on law and established rules. Public policy is rarely neutral because some will benefit much more from what governments decide to do and others will not. Public policies are hardly ever permanent because values change, and when those values change, government commitments change. And finally, public policy is authoritative and coercive. When the government makes public policy, they can force you to go by it, force you to put a stamp on, to mail a letter, force you to stop at a red light. Those are ways in which government keeps order. Three important observations come to mind with respect to this definition. First, those in power include people in the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch, certainly the bureaucracy. That means that some of these public policy officials are elected, some are not. All, however, hold positions of public authority. That's important. And as such, they're entitled to act. Second, those in position of public power are found at all levels of authority. National, President, Congress, judiciary. State, the governors, legislatures, people at that level. Local, cities, counties, even all the way down to school districts and classrooms. All of these are public policy making environments. And finally, public policymakers may exercise their power, their authority, only within their spheres of constitutionally prescribed authority. Congress can't go ahead and make land use laws because those laws fall under the purview of the states and local governments. Local governments can't make foreign policy because those capabilities fall within the purview of the national government. As long as we remember that each of these various levels can make policies within their respective jurisdiction, everything is fine. The bottom line is simply this: public policy exists at all levels of authority. Public policy is made in order to make sure that society's values and needs are met and respected, and public policy is made by those in positions of authority who we empower as policymakers.
Larry Gersten in this video talks about what public policy is. He provides us with some concepts and characteristics of this term. Through his speech, we also can infer the degree of importance of public policies, the functions they have in making decisions from the higher hierarchical level to particular scope of actions, from government to classrooms, for example, the way they affect us and the role they play in our life. If we ask ourselves, what are public policies for? We may say that they are for implementing peace and order, protecting citizens, offering access to health, accessing to security, safety, and well-being, accessing to education, and finally developing cultural and economic spheres. If we ask what public policies are in Ecuador, which are very important and we should consult them, then we have to talk about Constitution of the Republic of Ecuador, National Development Plan, and the Organic Law of Intercultural Education. The Constitution of the Republic of Ecuador, according to my opinion, is the fundamental law in our country. It is a supreme law, it's fundamental law. It comprises supreme standards in Ecuador. It is applicable and current legal norm because it is based on three traditional functions, main traditional functions: executive, legislative, and judicial. It also is based on two new functions, electoral and transparency, and social control, and that's why it was submitted to a constitutional referendum. This policy comprises a preamble, 9 titles, and 444 articles. When we refer to National Development Plan in Ecuador, we are talking about an important law, a law which tends to develop the economic aspects of Ecuadorian society. There are three main, we may say, cores or areas or pillars they developed in this law. The first one is rights for all throughout life. The second one is economy at the service of society. And the third one, more society, better state. The organic law of intercultural education responds to both Constitution and National Development Plan. It contains all rights, obligations, and constitutional guarantees in the field of education. It is clearly stated that our education has an inclusive character, intercultural character, that we should respect natural cultures and live in a harmonic coexistence. This is the synthesis of the most important contents treated this week. Further, we are going to deepen on these aspects. As the task, independent work assigned, we ask you to write a paragraph about the importance of consulting the legal public policies for you as future professionals of education. I try to help you making a kind of scheme through this chart with the purpose of structuring your text well. You have the evaluation rubric in the virtual platform. This is the main bibliography used in the lesson. I suggest to consult the last one related to the video because it was not added in the lesson plan uploaded. I appreciate your attention and thank you.